Hey guys, Steve here with the stock market outlook for the week of August 11th, 2014. Just want to take a look at the markets. Basically, last week we had just broken the downtrend line. Okay, this was the Friday of last week, right here on the 1st. So we had just broken that downtrend line. We had also broken what I was considering previous support from this little low back here. And at that point, I had suggested that, between 1922 and 1887, there really wasn't much support to see why we wouldn't test this top of this range in here. And sure enough, as the week went on, that's exactly what happened. We came in and we basically moved lower almost every day last week. It was, alternating up down, and but as you can see, the bodies of the candles, they were migrating lower until Friday, when we had this nice big bounce off that 1888 level. And so Friday, what happened was, there was news out overnight, and the market actually gapped down. I think it was down at one point like 15 points overnight, and rallied off of that level, tested that 1888 level, rallied off of it, and closed higher on the day. So at this point, I think right now, the way I'm looking at this is, I think we need to see I think we should see some follow through from Friday. But what I'm concerned about is that we come up and you see how this 50-day moving average now is flattening out. Now, I think what may happen is we may come up, hit the bottom of that 50-day moving average, and then maybe just chop around a little bit. Okay, I think that's more the path of least resistance. I think for right now, maybe we may have seen the lows for August. Again, that's just what my guess is at this point, and that's exactly what it is, just a guess. So, like I said, really on the S&P came in, and I think now we're going to be stuck between, let's say, this 1948 and 1888 level is really going to be our consolidation area, and then see what happens. We talked about this the other day. There's this downtrend line, so we could move sideways, hit the downtrend line, and then break down lower and maybe test this 1858 level. Again, it's all prediction at this point, nothing confirmed with price action. But if you do look at the 50 or the weekly, we are bouncing right off of that trend line that we've had drawn in for a little over a year now. So that trend line has never broken in over a year, since the start of 2012, and the end of 2012. So let's see how it plays out. But I think at this point, you can even see in here on the weekly chart, this 1880 level, there's some significant support in there, being that it was the resistance of this consolidation before we had this small run higher. The NQs, NASDAQ futures, similar story. These are much stronger than any of the other indices. But basically what's happening here is we have this trend line coming in. That's obviously starting to break, but this bottom of this consolidation area is holding up very well. Okay. Got a lot of emails. So, we're coming in, 50-day moving average is moving higher, and right now we're sitting right inside this consolidation area. And this is one of the reasons I feel that maybe we move higher now, is because on the NASDAQ, we're at the bottom of this consolidation. So, again, if this is going to hold, I think, our next target would be back to the highs from a couple weeks ago. And again, you could see on the weekly chart that we're well above trendline support. All right. I'm looking at this previous high here. Right in here, if we were to fail, that coincides almost perfectly with the trend line. So if we were to fail at these levels, see lower prices, the NASDAQ I would see coming into this 3,700 level. And finally, the Dow futures. Now the Dow futures, I want to actually zoom out. Let's see. Let's go out a year. Okay. I want to show you guys something. So obviously the Dow futures, they broke, same as the S&P 500, moved lower. We had the same kind of move higher on Friday, but I want to go back and I want to show you this little bit of a longer term trend line. Okay, so this was the accelerated trend line, and look at this longer with these lows. Again, bounced right off of that. So in my opinion, again, this indicates, along with the NASDAQ, that we should see a move higher this week. Especially in the Dow and the NASDAQ. The S&P, again, that one doesn't really coincide with any type of trend line, except for the trend line on the weekly. But here, again, we came right in to this support area. Right in there. This was the previous consolidation, I guess you would call it, before we started our move higher. So we tested the bottom of that, and now we're back up. So again, I could see this coming in. This 50-day moving average is starting to actually angle down. All right, so we're going to have a little resistance when we get back to that 50-day. But, that may be the end of this week. I don't see this, gapping up huge and testing that 50-day moving average in the next couple days. I think maybe if we're lucky and you're a bull, maybe we see that 50-day moving average by the end of the week. But until then, like I said, we're really just in a wait and see mode. I think we're more consolidating. Maybe we've put in the lows for August, and we'll go from there. But for right now, these are all predictions. This is just what I'm seeing on the technical side of everything. Obviously, there's headline risk that's associated with all the markets. So if that stays at bay and we just work off technicals, I don't see what reason we would have to not at least test these 50-day moving averages after a bounce off support. So that's it for today, guys. Use that as maybe a little guideline going forward. We'll kind of check in with that in the strategy sessions during the week. But like I said, it's really just a guideline, a prediction based on technical analysis, and we'll see how it plays out. But make sure you guys check out the strategy session and the other weekly videos this week. Got some good stuff coming out. And follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, and Google+. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And again, for those who are not social media savvy, definitely visit the website, and you can sign up for the nightly recap, where I email the links to these videos directly to your inbox for easy viewing. All right, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you tonight for the strategy session.